Hey guys, it's Superstar0717. I promised you guys I'd show you the more competitive build of my deck, and so this is going to be it. It is very similar to the the deck outs build, or at least their take on the build, and obviously that was the skeleton that I was basing it off of. There are some changes that I made, just like 3 or 4 cards that were different. I think it's 2 to 4 cards, I don't remember the exact number. But I'm going to show you my build. I'll post their article down below. It's actually a pretty good article. And so here we go. So you start off with your one Cleffa. Cleffa's an awesome card. Ekes you out of bad hands. I believe in their build they ran the, what is his name? That flying squirrel thing that was 70 HP and free retreat. I do like that idea, but I feel like since you're not running very many PComs in this deck, that you do need a Cleffa to kind of eke you into some better hands. Although I have tested it and it is pretty decent, it works alright. I'm testing Cleffa now. I just think it's more reliable. It's proven itself through many tournaments, and so I'm going with the Cleffa for now. Obviously it's a free prize late in the game, but I'm going to try it out for now. And so we have our number 1 basic Pokemon of the deck, Tynamo. I'm running 2 of the 30 HP and 2 of the 40, as you can see. The reason why I switched to the new 240 HP ones is because Kyurem is kind of a pain in the ass, and giving up multiple prizes per turn is not fun, which the 30 HP obviously lets you do. And so you just gotta kind of, if you know you're going against Kyurem, when you go collector, search the 40s, obviously. Things like that. They both lose to Yanmega's linear attack, so know that. They are good though. The 40 HP. I do like the free retreat though, just in case you top deck into a collector or a Pokegear. Maybe you can retreat it and get that turn 1 charge with Thundurus. So right now I think I might switch to 340, 130, but for now I'm trying 2 and 2, and it seems to work out pretty decently. Okay, so up next we have our stage 1 from that. Oops, sorry about that. I'm running the 4-4 line of Eelektrik. I just really have bad luck in this game, and so every time I tried to run it 3-3, I'd have like 1 or 2 prized, and dealing with that and just probability, setting up with 2 isn't going to really work for you, especially once again you don't run very many PComs. That and he's not the strongest of cards. I like to set up 3 of them and start getting that energy from my discard pile onto my bench as soon as possible, because once this line of attackers that I have is charged up, they usually don't leave the board until they've gotten a KO or 2. So I run the 4-4 Eelektrik, just for probability numbers, probability's sake, and other things like that. So my main attacker of the deck, I have my 3 Zekroms. Zekrom is a pretty good card for 3 energy. You do 120, deals 40 to itself. With this deck, you're not running this deck is very similar to Rushiflosion, but because you don't need to run the, I think it's like the 4-2-4 line of Typhlosion with 3 rare candies, or 3 to 4 rare candies, you do have a lot of space for different attacks that deck can't really afford to. You have stuff like Eviolite and Switch and things like that. So this deck I feel is a little bit stronger. I've tested it a couple times in the mirror match, and I've done, I think, like 3 and 1. So this deck is pretty good. Like I said, it gives you a lot of room for tech because your lines are a lot smaller, because your energy acceleration is from a stage 1 instead of a stage 2. So next I have the double Thundurus. Thundurus is a pretty awesome card. Sets up your other Pokemon with Hurricane, and Energy Wheel sets himself up for when you use your Eels on the bench to charge up stuff. So it's pretty good, and it makes it so you don't auto-loss to Donphan. Excuse me. And up next, 2 Thundurus, my favorite turn 1 card other than Cleffa. Hook an energy onto it, do a charge, thin your deck out by an energy, and then turn 2 Disaster Volt for 80. If you have your catcher in hand, you can usually knock out most of the setup Pokemon in the format. So he's a pretty good card. I like him a lot. So I'm running that. On to the trainers and supporters. I'm running 4 Collector. Everybody should. It's such a good card. If you're not running 4 Collector, or if you have an intense setup deck, you might want to try 1 Pichu, which is what I considered doing in this deck, and I'm still considering over that Cleffa. And obviously more testing needs to be done. Let me know what you think about that idea down below, because I do have the Pichu, just in case I decide to run that. So I run the 4 Collector, great turn 1. Up next I run the 4 Sages Training. It helps you Oops, can I shuffle it in wrong? Sorry, I have 4 Sages training. Oops, where did it go? Okay, well just know that I have 4, oh there it is. Sorry, 4 Sages training. Obviously get stuff in the discard pile. You do run the risk of opening with it as your only supporter when you run it up 4, but obviously it mitigates it when it mills those lightnings for you. So it's a pretty good card. Next I run 4 Juniper. 7 cards is awesome. Just be careful how you play it. You deck out sometimes unless you play it right. But 4 Juniper, obviously you're running a very similar engine to the Reshiflosion engine, so you run that. Okay, and the last support I run is 2 N. I'm still on the fence about N. Obviously, it is a good disruption card. It's just a pawn early game, but when your opponent just like goes off turn 1 and ends up on 3 cards, and they have a full setup, and then you have to N and give them back to 6 cards for free, basically. I just hate doing that. And if it's your only supporter that's really useful in your hand, you have to do it sometimes, which is why I feel Pont is somewhat better, although I can see the logic where it does kind of benefit you more in some aspects. But I'm still on the fence about this card. Obviously it's done pretty well in a lot of people's testing, but in me it always ends up kind of screwing me over. So I'm running 2 of those, and I'm still on the fence about those. Okay, so onto the trainers. I'm running 4 Junk Arms. Junk Arms, just an extremely versatile card. It kind of lets you thin down your trainer or your other trainers because you can always get them back with Junk Arm, and it's a pretty good card. I run 3 Catcher. I did order them finally. I got them from Troll and Toad when they had their free shipping sale. I ended up saving like $6 or $7 on shipping. So actually I made 2 orders that day, so I ended up saving like $18 on shipping because one of the orders was actually quite big. And so obviously excuse the proxies, but I do have them coming in the mail. Okay, so I have 2 Pokegears. Pokegear is such a good card. It lets you greatly increase your chances of going turn 1 Collector, which is crucial in this deck because you do want to start off with at least 2 to 3 Dynamos on the bench turn 1. And since most of your attackers are basics, it obviously lets you search out pretty much anything in your deck. So 2 Pokegears. Up next I have 2 Switch. I know the deck out was only running 1. With everyone running 3 or 4 Catchers and 3 Catchers and 4 Junk Arms, and basically they can catcher like 8 times in one game. I just like Switch because a lot of your Pokemon have that double retreat cost, and Switch just gets them out of there, gives you more targets for Junk Arm. I like to actually just burn one of these early game and just leaves it open in my graveyard, or in my discard pile for Junk Arm later. But Switch is a good card. I do run DCs along with this, which really makes it fun for me, at least, whenever they catcher up something and they think it's going to stall me, and I just Switch or DC or Junk Arm for Switch out of it. Okay, so up next I'm running Plus Power. Obviously anything hits for 120, you gotta run Plus Power for the potential turn 1 knockout and everything. Plus Power is good, puts in a lot of work for me. Up next, Eviolite. Eviolite just makes Zekrom a freaking tank. Like, it only does 20 to itself with Bulk Strike. If it has full HP and your opponent has a Reshiram, it'll only do 100 to it, which leaves you with 30, which means, it just becomes a tank. I mean, even with Plus Power, they're still not going to be able to knock it out, and I think with double Plus Power, they're still not going to be able to knock it out. So Eviolite just makes your things tanks. I've had to use it on a Dynamo before to kind of preserve myself from a linear attack knockout, and it worked, I guess. So 2 Eviolites, and they do put in a lot of work in their Junk Arm bubble, obviously. And then I run 1 Pecom, 1 Revive. Revive's my 4th Zekrom, my 5th Dynamo, my 3rd Tornadus, or my 3rd Thundurus, and Pecom just gets my stage 1s out faster. So I got that. And on to my energy. Running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oops, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10 lightning energy, and 3 double colorless energy. So there's my deck for you guys. Very similar to the deck outs build, but I do believe this build was very strong to begin with. So that's pretty much it. Obviously, excuse the proxies, and let me know if you guys have any questions or comments about the deck. Thanks, guys. Peace.